Welcome to a new video. So I'm going to talk about how to do currency translation with Power Query. So we have a case here of a sales data set where I have multiple sales values but in different currency, and now I would want to translate them into Canadian dollars. So the first step will be to create tables with the rates that I'm going to use. So I'm going to create a new tab. And for this, I'm going to use the stock data type. So first of all, I'm going to start with the USD exchange rate. So I'm going to type the USD currency. I'm going to convert it into a stock data type. And I'm going to need to have rates for daily rates. So in order to do that, I will expand a list of all the date, and I'm going to start with 2025. So here I'm going to just drag all the way to December 31st. So here I am. And to get the rate, I'm going to use the function stock history. So here I need to reference which stock, in this case an exchange rate, then the date that I want to. I don't need an end date in that case because it's a daily rate that I will select, and I don't need no headers, and I just want to have the close rate. So I have all my parameters, and here I can see that for January 1st, 2025, Canadian dollars was at 70 cents. So now I'm going to drag this all the way down, and I'm going to do the same for the rate. So here I can see that I have a problem because there is no values for weekends. But I do have sales on the weekend that I will need to translate into Canadian dollars. So there's probably many ways to handle that problem, but I chose to do it with VBA. So I'm going to go into the developer tool of Visual Basic. I'm going to add a new module to my my file, and I have a script here that I can use that I would put in the comments. And basically this script was going to look if there is an error. So the error that is returned when there is no values, it will look 2 cells up, which will be the previous Fridays, and it will just return the rate of Fridays. And so then I will have rates for the weekends. So I'm going to use this. My new function. And so I need to use the value returned by the stock history function. Actually, there will be, if the problem why I cannot encapsulate this function within another function is because this data type is very hard to use with VBA. It's not recognized by VBA or even by Power BI, if I'm not mistaken. But so I cannot encapsulate this function within this function. I need to do it separately. So that's what I'm going to do. So here I need the exchange rate. And then I need the row that I'm at, and the column. So here I get the same values. So now if I drag this down, now I see that over the weekend, I have the Friday rate. So this is for USD, but this I'm going to use this within a table. So I'm going to convert this into a table, date, rate. I'm going to call it rate 1 and rate 2. So now I'm going to add this, insert a table. Okay, I'm going to call CAD. I have another currency in which I need to do the translation, and it's the Australian dollars. So all I'm going to do is copy paste this into another table that I'm going to change the name for CAD and Australian dollars. And here I just have to change this value and make sure it's all the way down. And now I see my rates changing, and I have my rates on the weekends. Next step will be to load these table into my Power Pivot editor. So I'm going to use from other source table range, and I will see my table loaded into that I will be able to use. And for now, I just need the connection. So I'm going to I will only need the connection and this, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. So from table range, now I have my two currency tables. Here, like I said previously, we have the stock data type is a bit of an issue. It's hard to use inside the Power Pivot or VBA. So in this case, I'm just going to hard code the value because they're all the same. So in this case, I'm going to add a new column in which I'm going to hard code the value. So I'm going to call it currency 2. And in this case, it will be our Australian dollars value. So OUD. And the same thing for USD. So I'm going to add the currency here, currency 2, hard-coded value. And also I'm going to remove the column that I don't need. So I don't need this one because it's all errors, and this one, since they don't have the weekend rates. Same here. So in this case, remove columns. And finally, I'm going to combine these two tables together so I can join them to my finance sales report. To do so, I will use the append query function, and I'm going to create a new query. So my first table, Canadian dollar, Australian dollars, to combine with my USD, Canadian USD table. The new table that I'm going to call exchange rate. And so the last step is to join these two tables together. And for this, I will use the merge query, but not as new. I'll just merge it with the existing report. So here I have to reference my exchange table, and I can join multiple fields. In this case, I just hold the control key, and I'm going to join this one to the shipping date. So it asks me to reconfirm the security, and you keep the control key. You keep holding the control key, and then not the rate, but the currency. And then I join it to my currency field in the finance report table. Click OK. Now I have the join, and I click on this little button with the two arrows going on in opposite direction. And in this case, I want to return the rate. So I click on rate. And now I realize that all the rates are null because so I'm just going to keep the connection. So in this case, it's because my data is for 2021 to 2024, but I only did 2025, so I have no match. And so I need to add new values to these two tables. So I simply go to the end of this table, and I'm going to start with January 1st, 2021. I'm going to drag this down all the way to December 31st, 2024. So here I am. Okay. And here I'm also going to copy paste my Canadian USD stock. Take a bit of time to calculate everything. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. Just gonna copy paste it on the other tab. Okay, and same for the currency. Okay, everything seemed to be calculated well. Now if I go back to my Power Query editor, now I should see rates. Yes, now I see rates, but I'm still missing some, but this is normal because they're Canadian dollars and I'm not doing currency conversion for Canadian dollars. Going to do the currency conversion is by adding a column in which, so I'm going to call it total. So if it's Canadian dollars, so if the sales report currency is in Canadian dollars, I will just take the total sales amount. So then total sales amount, else I will do the currency translation, which will be total sales divided by the rate. So now I have my sales converted. So now I can go back to my report. So to see the results, I will copy paste this pivot here and replace this sales value by my new Canadian sales. Change the format, and I can see that my values have been translated, but I see that my Canadian values are the same, but the other two are different.